This forum is for the general election on Tuesday, November 4th, 2025. Welcome candidates and fellow citizens to the League of Women Voters of Grosse Pointe Candidate Forum for the City of Grosse Pointe Mayor and City Council. Thank you to the Grosse Pointe Unitarian Church for the use of this space to host this forum. We also thank Steve Garci of Grosse Pointe Public Schools for video recording this event. It will be available for viewing within a day or two on the League's YouTube channel. We would ask that you turn off or silence your cell phones and devices. Individual recording of this program is not permitted. Our League has gathered questions from the community through our website over the last few weeks. These questions have been sorted for relevancy, redundancy, and lack of slanderous content. Sorry. This format will not allow us to submit all of your questions to the candidates. We encourage citizens to follow up with individual candidates with any follow-up questions and concerns you may have. The League is providing this forum as an opportunity for candidates to express their views related to their candidacy. Statements expressed by the candidates are not endorsed by the League. The League does not certify any candidate responses to questions as accurate. Voters are encouraged to fact-check information shared by the candidates. Before I introduce the moderator for this forum, I would like to remind the community that Grosse Pointe League of Women Voters is a 501c3 nonprofit. We are part of a national organization whose mission is to promote political responsibility through informed and active participation of citizens in government. We offer candidate forums and voter education programs as a service to the community. The League neither endorses nor opposes candidates or political parties. We welcome all men and women 16 years and older to membership. Please visit our website at lwvgrossepointe.org if you are inclined to support our mission of empowering voters and defending democracy. At this time, I would like to introduce Diane Doman. She is a board member of the Grosse Pointe League, and she will serve as our moderator tonight.
Good evening. Before I introduce the candidates, there's some people in the League I would like to thank for their assistance with this forum. I'd like to introduce League members that will be serving as question sorters, timekeeper, and volunteers. Our timekeeper tonight is Mary Garlow. The questions were selected in advance by a small committee, including Lori Kingsbury, Melissa Levasseur, and Liz Martin. Our greeters and hospitality tonight are Janet Burke, Carol Burns, Barbara Choate, Holly Corey, Margaret Frundle, Lori Kingsbury, Laura McCourt, and Jane Rousseau. Thank you. The format for this forum has been established by the League of Women Voters of Grosse Pointe. The format was received by each candidate prior to the forum. There are 2 candidates for mayor to my immediate left, and 4 council. That's a 2-year term, and 4 candidates for city council for 3 4-year terms. In alphabetical order, the candidates for mayor are Christopher Boettcher and Sheila Tomkowiak. The candidates for council are David Calcaterra, David T. Fries, Maureen, Juip, and Chris Walsh. Each candidate will have the opportunity to make an opening statement not to exceed 2 minutes. The order has been determined by drawing lots just prior to this meeting. Because David Fries is unavoidably out of town tonight, we offered him the opportunity to send in a written opening statement. I will read that statement following all the other candidates' statements. The timekeeper will hold up a card for 30 seconds remaining and a card indicating stop when the speaker's time has expired. Following their opening statements, the candidates will be answering in alternating order written questions from the community. As moderator, I reserve the right to close a discussion on a question. At the end of the question period, each candidate will have an opportunity to make a 2-minute closing statement in reverse order of the opening statements. An important part of our format is that there are to be no questions or comments from the floor during this forum. All questions are to be asked by me from the written questions. Also, I am asking that the audience refrain from applauding or otherwise audibly reacting until the end of the forum. We will begin with the candidates' opening statements. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to present their opening statement. We'll start with the mayoral candidates with Christopher Boettcher.
I'd prefer to be standing up and talking to you, but I'll have to do this from a seat. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for bringing this together again for another year and allowing us to tell you what we're all about and how we can help our city. A little background on me, if you don't know me, I've been a resident in the Grosse Pointes my whole life, most specifically many years in the city of Grosse Pointe. And here's where I've raised my family. We have grandchildren here, and along with my wife, this is the place where we want to be. So that's why I'm up here today. As for work, I'm a president of a manufacturing company in Detroit that employs 40 people, and I have an extensive background in the business arena. As for my history, 8 years on the council and 2 years as your mayor previously. I had a number of notable projects at that time that I was lucky enough to participate with the other mayors, city managers, and those were our public safety building and our Department of Public Works. They ended up being very successful projects from what I can gather at this point. The other thing that I'd like to see is after 6 years of being on a sabbatical is to come back and see how I can improve and finish where I left off. Thank you.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Sheila Tomkowiak, and I am the mayor currently and have been for the last 6 years. I would first like to thank the League for hosting this forum and for all of you for attending. As I look around this room, I see a lot of familiar faces. I know you, and you know me. And you know how much I care, how hard I've worked at this job, and how hard I have been working to learn how to do this job better. I hear from you frequently, and I'm always happy to talk. If you don't know me, let's fix that. So take out your pencil and take this down. My office phone number is 313-881-1734. My cell phone is 313-444-4660. I'm always impressed by how passionate and informed our residents are about all the issues, large and small. You don't hesitate to speak up, and I value your input and appreciate your efforts. Your voice matters, and I'm always happy to listen.
Thank you. Mr. Walsh?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you to the League of Women Voters. My name is Chris Walsh, and it has been both an honor and a privilege to serve the residents of Grosse Pointe on City Council for the past 20 years. I'm proud of what we've accomplished during this time. Among the highlights, as I recall, was the repurposing of the 110,000 square foot Jacobson's property, the construction of the new parking garage in the village, the partnership with the neighborhood club in developing their new facility, and the completion of both our new public safety and new public works building. These are just a few examples of the progress that we have made, all achieved while operating with an ongoing budget constraint. None of this would have been possible without the collective effort and of a dedicated and collaborative council. Beyond my work on council, I've served as a trustee for the city's fully funded pension board for 20 years. I've contributed as a member of our newly formed investment committee and was honored to be an inaugural trustee of the Downtown Development Authority. I've approached each of these responsibilities with commitment and a genuine passion for public service. I'm running for re-election this fall because I believe I can continue to be effective, thoughtful, and constructive voice for the resident of Grosse Pointe. I remain committed to transparency, accessibility, responsiveness, and I'm here tonight to reaffirm that commitment to all of you. Thank you for your time, and I respectfully ask you for my vote. My name is Chris Walsh.
Mr. Calcaterra.
Good evening. First, I want to start off by thanking the League of Women Voters of Grosse Pointe for hosting this event. I would also like to thank everyone here for taking their time tonight, including the council members and current mayor. If you don't know me, my name is David Calcaterra. I have a little bit different path than everyone up here, so this is my first time running. The reason why I'm running is I'm a lifelong resident of the city of Grosse Pointe. I have grown up in Grosse Pointe and had unique opportunities to create some amazing memories and friendships over the years, such as riding my bike with friends in that park, swimming on the Norbs, coaching swim lessons, and even teaching some of the current council's members' children how to swim. I also remember movie nights at the city park and the haunted house. All of these and many other reasons is why I'm running for city council. My wife and I are expecting our first child, a daughter, this December. I want my daughter and future children to have the same great experiences and memories growing up that I had. I believe if elected to city council, I bring a unique set of skills to continue to grow our beautiful community. I have over 10 years of construction management experience at Turner and Townsend. I believe that will help us strategic planning of new trees, finding the best bids for projects, and saving money for our community with a tight budget. If elected, I would also like to bring back some events in the city we used to put on when I was younger, such as movie nights at the park and the haunted house. My biggest goal is to continue to bring Grosse Pointe residents together. Thank you.
Thank you.
30 seconds. All right, good evening, everyone. Before I start, I want to echo the thanks to the League of Women Voters for hosting this forum. I think it's so important for voters to be able to see and hear from their candidates. So I'm really grateful for this opportunity to be here tonight. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Maureen Juip, and I live with my husband, Randy, and our 5 kids. Hi, Tommy. Thank you for being here on Lakeland. Before we were there, we were on Washington, and I grew up on Lincoln, so the city has been my home for most of my life. I have loved growing up here, raising my kids here, and I'm really invested in the city, which is why it's been my honor to serve on city council for the last 5 years, and it's why I'm seeking re-election. A little bit about my background. I have my bachelor's in chemical engineering and an MBA, both from the University of Michigan, go blue. And today, most of my time is dedicated to the Friedreich's Ataxia Research Alliance, or FARA. My 2 oldest children were diagnosed with this rare disease, which has taken away their ability to walk. And when they were diagnosed, there were no treatments and no cures, so our family, of course, jumped into action. And today, I serve on FARA's board of directors. I'm the secretary of the executive committee, and I volunteer on the staff with the communications team, where we're all working tirelessly to cure FA. Being a mom is really central to who I am, and it's one of the strengths that I bring to City Council because it creates accessibility for all of you. Most of you out there don't know me really from our City Council meetings and the council chambers. We bump into each other while we're both buying groceries for dinner that night, or while we're cheering for our kids on the swim deck at a Norbs meet. And I believe that local government should be really close to the people it serves, which is why I'm glad to be here for you, serving you on behalf of our community. I'm always happy to talk about the topics that are facing our community, so I'm really looking forward to tonight's discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll now read the brief statement that David Fries emailed. He says, "Thank you for the opportunity to serve as your councilman for another 4 years. During the course of this discussion, I will provide my and our professional accomplishments. I believe kindness and respect are very important. During my campaign, I have talked to all the lawn signs. Everyone has a story to tell." We will now go to the questions from the community, and we will start with Ms. Tomkowiak. Some of you have answered some of this already, so bear with us. What is your background, and how will it help you serve this community as mayor or council member? Why are you running for this office? And these are 1 minute.
1 minute.
My background is I'm a trained journalist, and I own a custom publishing company, and I teach news editing at Wayne State. And I think that qualifies me quite well for the job, as I believe I have proved already, because I know how to dive in, study, learn, understand the issues, climb back out, and explain them well, and that leads to good decision making. I'm also involved in SEMCOG and the Michigan Municipal League and other local and state entities, and have good relationships with folks around the state, particularly other legislators, so that I can leverage those relationships for the city when those needs occur.
Thank you. Then we go to Mr. Walsh. Keep going in order. And again, it's 1 minute on these questions.
Sure, thank you. So I have worked, after graduating from Grosse Pointe South, I went to University of Michigan, graduated from the University of Michigan, and got into a career in finance. I've currently served 30 plus years as a senior vice president for Morgan Stanley. I think how this has helped me is in my business, you have to be able to quick process decisions and be able to read numbers and understand those. I know that during my time on the council, I've been able to exhibit that skill, and I look forward to be able to continue to use that as a resource for the city.
Thank you.
I went to John Carroll University in Cleveland, Ohio. I have a degree in marketing and logistics. I think the marketing part of my degree will play a big benefit with supporting events and marketing them. And for my professional career, like I mentioned earlier, I have 10 plus years of construction management experience. I have done Stellantis dealerships in Manhattan all the way to Portland, Oregon. I've been on the other side of it, representing the businesses going to cities, trying to get approvals. So I think I could bring a very unique set to the city council if elected, where I can understand the business side of it and signage and things like that.
All right, so I probably did the most thorough of all my fellow candidates here in my introduction. So I won't go through my education again, but I can talk a little bit about some of my experience and how it's helped in my role on City Council and how I think it will continue to help. So as I mentioned, I sit on the board of directors for a large nonprofit. As part of that, I have a lot of experience doing strategic planning. I also used to have a role in strategic planning back in my engineering days when I was working as a chemical engineer at BASF. As part of both of those roles, I am good at looking at operational efficiencies as well as analyzing budgets, which is a big part of what City Council does. And back in the BASF days when I was working in operations and project engineering, I am shocked at how much I apply those skills to questions I'm able to ask and probe really deeply with our city engineer as we look at our road projects and our different sewer projects that we consider. And I'll just wrap up with what is the easiest to say but the hardest to do well, which is my role in communications, and that's interfacing with each of you. So thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Boettcher?
I already brought up my background, family business, going on the 4th generation, and my degree was from Western Michigan University in business administration, and then I've carried on with the family business doing many facets of the organization involving governmental units, working with all different kinds of clients in the architectural construction industry, so I know a little bit about contracts and that kind of thing. I bring that expertise to the council. I also bring all of the business experiences that go along with having a company that has 40 employees. So I'm very comfortable moving forward to get back in this position.
Thank you. The next one will start with Mr. Walsh. And again, these questions mostly came from the community, and some of you have already answered some of this at the beginning, so bear with us. Describe your qualifications related to budgets and policies and your engagement in local government. Please be specific about your public service on committees, commissions, and/or attendance at council meetings.
Well, I'll take that backwards. My attendance at council meetings over the last 20 years has been very good. I rarely miss a meeting. With regard to my engagement on committees, I mentioned earlier, I've been on the city pension board for 20 years. We're lucky to say, as a whole community, that our city pension is 100% funded. Our auditors tell us over and over again that that is a very, very rare occurrence. So, we stay ardent in making sure that we're able to do that. With regard to the Downtown Development Authority and the development in the village, this is the subject we spend a ton of time on, and I've been very involved in that. The recently formed investment committee is something that we pay a lot of attention to what the city is doing with the finances that are not a part of either the pension or the general fund.
Thank you.
My attendance with the city council meetings, I've been to quite a few this year. I follow the meeting minutes online. When it comes to more of the budget side of that, that's what I do for a living. Clients will come to me with $1 million projects, $2 million projects, whatever that dollar amount is, and my job is to make sure that 1, we can get it in with budget, 2, we can get it approved by a city, and 3, if we are over budget, how do we get it in budget and get it approved by the city? So I think that'll be a pretty unique side of, more of a business background if elected to city council.
All right, I'll start with the easy one, which is attendance. My attendance has been almost perfect. I've been on council for almost 5 years, and I think I've only missed 2 meetings in all of that time. In fact, when we vote on the meeting calendar and it gets approved, it goes in our family calendar, and we actually plan family vacations around it. So attendance and engagement is really important to me. With respect to the roles that I've served, I was the liaison to the Grosse Pointe City Foundation for many years until the newly appointed Active Adult Commission was formed, and at that time I switched over to being the City of Grosse Pointe Commissioner to that commission. I have also served on the Beautification Commission. In all of those roles, I think budgeting is really important because I think where we spend our money and where we invest the taxpayer dollars is a reflection of what our priorities are and where we want to grow in our community. And so we spend a lot of time on council. In May, we actually had 2 back-to-back meetings in May reviewing in depth the City of Grosse Pointe budget. And if you attend those meetings, you'll see that we are very engaged in those discussions and understanding how we want to allocate those funds. Thank you.
Mr. Boettcher?
I am a participant, actually vice president of the Grosse Pointe City Foundation. I've been doing that since my departure from the council. So that has allowed me to stay in touch with some of the projects that have been presented or not been presented to this point that would provide for the enhancement and improvement to our community. I truly believe that the residents speak through the foundation and they put their money where their mouth is. So I look forward to having a much stronger relationship with the foundation relative to the city's participation, and that we can get some of these projects done that need to get done.
Thank you. Ms. Tomkowiak?
Boy, I could take a half an hour to answer this one. I did not know a lot about municipal budgets when I started. I knew about business budgets, and they're 2 very different things. So I got myself trained. Went to the Michigan Municipal League and learned about priority-based budgeting, which we have instituted, learned about what kind of quarterly reports we should have been getting, made sure we started to get them so we can track costs accurately. I did a fellowship at Harvard, 3 weeks this summer, learned even more about budgeting and municipal finance, and I feel very comfortable doing that. I've been on city commissions since 2004, when I started on the Marina Committee when we did the new marina. Kind of got roped into doing more, and I've been on the Parks and Rec Commission ever since. I know our budget inside and out. I know how much money we have. I know how much money I wish we had so we could do everything that we can, and I wish the foundation would raise more money to help us out with that. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll start with Mr. Calcaterra with the 3rd question. What do you think is the #1 infrastructure issue facing our city?
That's a tricky question. I think for infrastructure, one thing we could look at is the possibility of maybe a hotel or something like that to accommodate the city. I also think we have to make sure we keep enough money in reserve in the funds for the parking structure, the village, and maintenance at the buildings and things like Neff Park. I know the pool, I was a swim coach and a lifeguard. That pool was built quite a few years ago, and that's something we'll have to look at in the near future to keep maintaining it, to keep it up to par. Because I know some of the other cities now are starting to invest in the pools and things like that.
My perspective is that the stormwater system is our largest infrastructure challenge. When I was running the last time, the flood had just happened and so many of our neighbors had been impacted really in a devastating way where their basements were destroyed. Since that time, I committed back then, if you look back at the 2021 League of Women Voters Forum, I committed at that time that after the sun had come out and the rains had gone away, we wouldn't forget about the stormwater system. And we haven't. We have invested in the city engineers, have developed a proposal to handle and mitigate the stormwater. We are currently in the running for a grant from FEMA, from the federal government, where they would fund about 3/4 of the project, which would be an absolutely tremendous investment. Unfortunately, it's caught up in a bit of the turbulence that's happening right now at the national level, but I think that that's the #1 priority for facing our city. Thank you.
Mr. Boettcher?
I also would like to go right to the sewer project. Right now, as it stands, per the last meeting that I attended, that we don't have the money anymore, that it was taken back. Now, we were assured at the meeting that we would have a second look and an opportunity to get that money back. But at the same time, we as voters voted to approve a large portion of that project. That doesn't get taken back if the government doesn't give back to us. So we need to make sure that we pay attention to when we have a large sewer project and it doesn't go through, we need to be confident we can pivot and do what we need to do to go to the next move.
The stormwater project has been approved by FEMA. FEMA has approved $21.6 million toward that project. The hang-up right now are new regulations at FEMA that looked at first like it was going to stop us from being able to get that money. Our engineers have since worked through that process, and it looks like we will still qualify. The $15 million bond that voters approved at the time that we needed to put that up to get the 21.6 from FEMA has not been spent and will not be spent unless that FEMA money comes through. That bond is dedicated to that stormwater separation project, and if that does not happen, you will not be charged those bond amounts. So that's safe. We do need to do something about stormwater. We do need to get it out of the sewage system. We are paying money to have that water treated through Great Lakes Water for half of our city, and that's not tenable because those fees have been going up and up.
Just to tail on to that, the opportunity for a city of our size, with a budget of our size, to get nearly $22 million in federal funds is incredible. I mean, this is, if we can get this, if it all comes through, this is a huge win for the city. I mean, as significant a win as we've seen in some time. We are very confident that we are prudent stewards of your money. We're not going to spend any bond money when we don't have the project in place. So you can rest assured on that. If this all happens, and we've done some work in the village to help them with the flooding, we're confident we can do a great job. Furthermore, our road project is something that we've put in place for years. And every time someone says, you know, my road needs help, we have a project schedule where we can say, this is when your road's getting done, and we have an ongoing funding process for that. So I think that's great.
Thank you. All right, for this question, we'll start with Ms. Juip. What do you see as the top non-infrastructure issue facing our city today? Have you engaged with City Hall or local residents to address this issue recently?
Sure. So I think a non-infrastructure, and I'm going to say issue because that's the question, but I actually don't see it so much as an issue, but the vibrancy of our commercial districts. And so specifically, I'll focus on the village. I was very fortunate when I came onto council. It had just received a designation as being a Main Street community, which came with it a lot of resources and access to some mentoring and consulting services. Since that time, it has been tremendous, the growth in the village. I think it is so incredibly vibrant. The number of businesses that have come in, the number of empty storefronts has just radically diminished over the last 5 years since we've been a Main Street community. And so I'm not going to say it's an issue, but I want to keep it at the forefront because the vibrancy of the village and our downtown districts, our commercial districts on Fisher and on Mac, I think are really important to our community. It's kind of like our front porch. It's where people gather to shop and to eat, and I think it's important to keep it vibrant. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Boettcher.
I believe the business districts all need attention. And I believe that if you put your boots on the ground and you walk slowly and look around, you'll see that there's a vast amount of opportunities to improve our business districts, to make sure that they are the gem of the entire Grosse Pointe community, all the way out from the shores to the park, that we should be the centerpiece of our community, our Grosse Pointe community. That means addressing a whole lot of other issues that come along with that, specifically in the business district of the village, is to look at some of the clock that doesn't work, the arch that has lights burnt out, going on to the parking. We can move on to a whole bunch of different things. And then you move to each one of the neighboring business districts on Mac and Fisher and help put them back on the map and pay attention to them as well.
Thank you.
The number one issue facing this city is financial. Between Headley and Prop A, our millage rates have gone down. For every dollar a resident pays in City of Grosse Pointe taxes, 33 cents comes to the city, and of that, more than 50% goes to public safety, which it should. Revenue sharing from the state of Michigan is being threatened again this year, so our budgets are going to go down even further. Everything that everybody talks about maintenance and vitality and boots on the ground and people, all come back to how much money we have and how much we don't have. Our staff since 2007 has been cut by 26%. We cannot cut any further. We've asked city staff to look at how we do things for greater efficiencies, to make sure that we are leveraging every penny we get. But it is not great, and it's broken for every municipality in the state. We are not alone.
This question has so many answers. I could go on for so much time. But ever since I've been on council, I've had the same thought that finances, as Sheila mentioned, finances are our biggest issue. I believe that the way out of this is to continue to press for collaborative issues with the other points. A simple example, when we merged our dispatch with the City of Grosse Pointe Park, we took our expense from $300,000 down to $100,000. $200,000 savings on our budget is a big deal. I don't think it has to stop there. I think when we shared our police chief with the City of Grosse Pointe Park, we saved a ton of money. We can continue to work on these things from an equipment basis, from a personnel basis, from a public safety basis. In my opinion, this is the key to how we can go forward with balancing finances over the course of the next 25 years.
Thank you. And Mr. Calcaterra.
I think some of the top non-infrastructure things, kind of like Mr. Walsh said, we should really be looking at shared services, maintenance, sharing equipment with the farms and the park, and just keeping an open communication with our other cities. As for the business districts, I mean, I think we all here, sitting here, we're all city residents. We should be inviting to everyone to shop local and really promote that. I think Main Street's doing a pretty good job on adding events, and I think we could maybe add some more events in that to support them even more. And then the last thing that no one really mentioned is the trees. I know there was an article in the Grosse Pointe News. We've got quite a few spots we still need to fill. And maybe through the foundation and other things, we can help raise some more money to get more trees planted in the city.
Thank you. Okay, we'll start this one with Mr. Boettcher. Rental properties which span all income levels can be an enormous asset. What do you see as some of the key rental issues in our community?
At this point, I don't necessarily see in the general public what issues there are within the city administration. I am sure they've had many that have been brought to their attention. The question is, have they been brought to our attention? So as I sit here tonight, I don't really know if there are any issues relative to the rental units that we have that we make available. But I, again, don't see anything that these issues have surfaced through administration.
We've worked to diversify housing across the board in the city. One of our primary goals is to make sure that we have units available to people who want to age in place. Seniors who don't want to leave this 1 square mile and want to have a place to go where they can be all on one floor. That's why we greenlit 2 residential places in the city within the last 3 years. And one is underway, and the other one has got a little bit of hiccup, financial hiccup, but it's still proceeding. And that's going to be mixed use right by the village. The other thing that we've worked very hard against is, in terms of rental, are short-term rentals or Airbnbs. The state has tried to make it so that we can't say no to those, but every time there's a commercially operated Airbnb in a neighborhood, we hear about it and we have ordinances in place so that we can shut them down. That, I think, is the first way to tank a neighborhood, and we're fighting to be able to have the ability to keep doing that. Okay. Mr. Walsh.
Thanks. With regard to rental units, throughout the country right now, on a national level, the ability for people, particularly younger people and seniors, to own their own house has become constrained because of house pricing. What has happened here, which should be, a shot in the arm for this community, is the projects that we have approved that are going to have rental units available. And the thing about that is these are going to be brand new rental units, so they're going to be higher quality. What I think about that is, A, it improves the density of our community with terms of residents, but it also puts pressure on people that don't necessarily keep their rental units up to speed, because all of a sudden now they have to compete against a brand new, spruced up, good-looking rental unit. So we're very cognizant of this issue, and we have an inspection unit that goes on and takes care of it for us. But it's near and dear to our hearts.
I am a landlord in this city. I live on Neff Road, so this one speaks to me. Some of the things what I noticed when doing it is we have them zoned at different things. Some are zoned duplex, some are zoned condos. There's pros and cons with that. We could look at doing that. I also agree with Mr. Walsh. Just driving down some of the streets, some of these rentals, I wish we would do a little bit better job of being a little more strict on the landlords to make sure that they're up to par. I think the new housing developments that are going on are great. I think it'd be another cool thing if we could develop the village, the second floors, and turn some of those into, rentals and things like that for people moving in. Really for any young person like myself moving into the city, look at your home prices, everyone. They've went through the roof, and renting's really the only option for a lot of young families to get into the city. And we just need to make sure that they're maintained properly.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, I agree with you, actually, that maintenance is a really important part of that. So maybe I'll start at the high level and then circle back to that at the end. But when we were working on developing the master plan, one of the things that we talked about and that our city planner talked about being very important in terms of the long-term vibrancy of communities is to have a diversified mix of housing types. And the city of Grosse Pointe really does. If you look across our city, we have things from single-family homes to multifamily homes, and we have made a concerted effort to try to increase the diversity in the housing types that are available to residents. But along with that then comes the concern with maintenance of properties. And so as we've explored the role of city council, the role of city council isn't so much in the ownership structure of properties, whether they're owned in a condo structure or rented through an apartment structure, but it is our role to look at our code of ordinances and the way that they're enforced. And I think we have a strong but prudent code that allows us to make sure the properties are maintained in a way that upholds the character of our community. Thanks.
Thank you. And we'll start with Mrs. Tomkowiak with this one. How do you see the role of citizens in the city decision-making process?
Oh, our citizens are really good at getting involved in the city decision process. And I'm really grateful for that. You know, we hear from people all the time. And in fact, 2 years ago, we did a survey about the park to see what people would want in the park. And the response to that was pretty overwhelming. And we got good data and good information on how to respond. But in a community of this size, when you're out and about and you get to know people, and I get questions all the time, and I'm happy to get them, and I talk to people all the time, people here are not shy, and we all know each other. So it informs pretty much everything we do.
Thank you. Mr. Walsh?
Sure, along those same lines, we talk about this, that we are a small community and we pride ourselves in our ability to make ourselves available to the residents. I've never shied away from giving my cell number and saying, hey, I'll come meet you, I'll come talk to you. Today I had a meeting at Flyleaf at 2 o'clock talking to a gentleman who just bought a property who was interested in what he could or could not do. I'm happy to do those meetings because I know people look at the government, they look at city council and they think they're walking into a brick wall. We said, please come to a meeting. We love it when people come to the meeting. We love engaging with the people because, I mean, even like you guys coming tonight, this is fantastic. We love seeing people engage with us, and we encourage you to approach us and say, hey, this is what I was thinking, this is what I want. That helps us all. It helps you, it helps us, it's a good thing.
Agree with the mayor. I think I do remember the survey for Neff Park. That was a really great thing. I think really just to increase the communication on both sides. So I think, you know, my younger generation moving up, everyone's on social media, kind of looking into options where maybe the city has a Facebook or a Twitter or an Instagram, and that just be more ways for the city to announce that they're having city meetings and, you know, events in the village and things like that, and all the things going on. I just think that then it would work both ways with the city and the citizens.
All right, so the beauty of our government is that we're all citizens, every one of us candidates and elected officials, and so I think obviously the role of citizens is really central to the decision-making process, and there's not much to add because I just want to echo a lot of what's been said already. We love chatting with our neighbors, we love when people come to meetings and engaging with us, and we have the beauty of being in a really small community, so any one of your city council members or your mayor isn't too far away, and people don't shy away from asking questions and having us point them to the right places at City Hall. And we're here as a resource, and we're here to listen. And it's a really critical thing for citizens to engage and get involved in the process.
One of the things that probably I look back on my 10 years on the council and as mayor was the fact that not enough people came to the meetings. There were many meetings where there were only 3 or 4 diehard citizens that came in to hear what we were doing and talk about things and get behind the podium. And I think it's incredibly important to be able to get that message out that you are welcome to come there to say and give your 3 minutes of time to tell us what you think we should do and how we should do it. So I am a huge advocate in this next step to really open up and strengthen the customer service, if you will, and the ability to communicate with our citizens. I truly believe there's a tremendous amount of opportunity for better communication.
For this question, we'll start with Mr. Walsh. Do you have any concerns about the integrity of the local election systems?
No. Actually, our clerk has been, historically, has been great. I mean, we've had a fantastic clerk, Julie Arthurs, for all the years she was there. Now Chris Hardenbrook. So these have been stalwarts. I mean, we should all be proud of them.
I have no concerns. I used to work for Chris Hardenbrook, the city clerk, as a lifeguard, and he is the most meticulous man I've ever met with budgets and writing things down. And if I remember correctly, he just passed an audit and he had a flying color. So I think we're doing a great job.
Yep, echoing that. It was a flawless audit. I have no concerns.
Mr. Boettcher?
I would echo the same sentiment. The only thing I'm concerned about this year is accessibility, because unfortunately our favorite place to go and vote, Mayor School, is no longer available to us. And that leads us to saying, why did that happen? And we've heard why. But now my understanding is it's the second floor of the neighborhood club. So that is potentially an accessibility issue. Even though they have an elevator and handicap facilities, my understanding it will take place on the second floor. So.
All right.
No concerns about integrity at all.
Thank you very much. And then we start with Mr. Calcaterra on this one. Is transparency an issue in our community's government? Why or why not?
I think our government's very transparent. I mean, you can go online, you can read the meeting minutes of things. Kind of what I mentioned earlier, I mean, the only thing that I would look into is maybe just having better social media to get it out to the younger generation, you know, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I know we have the email blasts and things like that, so I mean, I don't think they're hiding anything. I think they're doing a really great job, everyone up here, and yeah.
Thank you.
I agree that transparency is not an issue, and I think sometimes you kind of need to know where to look for things. So perhaps if someone is feeling like there is an issue with transparency, it's perhaps a level of engagement and an issue of knowledge. And so I'd encourage, if anyone out there feels that there are concerns in this way, seek me out, seek out anybody on city council or the mayor, or go to city hall, because the information is there. You just need to look for it. There's a lot on the city website, and it's available if you seek it out.
Thank you. Mr. Boettcher?
Great communication effectively creates great transparency. As I said just earlier, really work on the communication part of it, and how can we expand and continuously improve in that effort.
The city and the DDA board, which operates as Grosse Pointe Main Street, are both governmental entities that are subject to the Michigan's Open Meeting Act. And that's a pretty rigorous standard that we have to follow that requires us to be upfront and transparent, and to make sure that every debate on every issue is done in public in front of everyone, and we adhere to that. Our city attorney, Chuck Kennedy, would not let us slip one bit on that. So the legality of it is something that's very important, and we adhere to it, and that for sure adds to the transparency. But transparency is a tool. Transparency is not an end in of itself. So when we're being transparent, what that means is that people can know and learn and understand what's going on. So we also need an engaged electorate to be able to participate in that. And I feel in this community we have that, so I don't think it's a problem.
I too don't think it's a problem. You know, we've all paid attention to what's gone on in some of the other points with the fractious relationships between two different groups. We've never really had that in the city, and I think that's a compliment to our transparency. People understand what's going on. We encourage them whenever they approach us. If I can't answer your question, let me put you in touch with Pete Randazzo from Public Works. Let me put you in touch with the chief for Chief Elkhorn for Public Safety. I really believe we are a very accessible group, and it's not just me, it's every one of us. So I think we do an exceptional job at availing ourselves to residents in general, and I, again, encourage anyone that wants to get in touch with any one of us, please don't hesitate, because every one of us would engage with you.
Thank you. Okay, we have two more. Starting with Ms. Yeicher. Suggestions have been made by the community about parking, ranging from better signage and hours of operation to app fees to developing an annual fee structure. What are your thoughts on parking changes in the city?
Okay, parking is the thing everyone loves to hate. I hear so many times, why do you have to pay to go to the grocery store? And people who study commercial districts know that if you don't charge people for parking, then people come and just sit in the spots all day long, and the people who are trying to shop in the stores don't have access to easy parking, which then denies them easy access to stores, and influences their ability to shop local. So paid parking is an essential part of our city. Unfortunately, it's here for the duration, but I think there's some big opportunities, and that's actually one of the things I'd be looking towards with the farms in the woods now adopting the same passport parking structure that we have in the city. I think there are some opportunities to switch to the like the wallet, the prepaid wallet that Royal Oak and Ann Arbor use, so that would help minimize people's app fees and make it so that it's a little bit more palatable each time. Thank you.
Mr. Boettcher.
Parking goes a long way back when it was gravel lots with somebody sitting in a booth collecting loose change. That's how far back it goes for me. I've seen a lot of changes in the parking over the years. Everybody coming up with a better tool, a better method. So we just have to ask ourselves, how well did our parking fund do over the last 2 years? That's the question I'm going to ask, and I anxiously await the finish of the financials for 2024 and 2025 that will show us where we ended up in the parking fund, and hopefully the results will be better than the previous year.
Thank you. Ms. Tomkowiak.
Parking is an enterprise fund. It's run like a business. If we were, I hear all the time, why do I have to pay for parking in the village? Parking is not free. We have a bond on the deck, we have maintenance on that deck, and we have maintenance on the flat lots. If parking were free in the village, someone has to pay for that, and that would be the residents of the city of Grosse Pointe, whether you're using the village or not. That doesn't seem fair that you guys should foot the bill for everybody who visits the village. So we work to make it as fair as possible, as easy as possible. All of the fees for parking maintenance comes out of that fund, which I am pleased to report is back in the black. We had trouble with that fund at one point because Lot 4 was under construction and the parking deck was open for too long. We did not know it was running into the red because we were not getting proper quarterly reports. We are getting them now, and I can guarantee you that will not happen again.
Sure. We've talked about this subject over and over and over again. I see Dale out there, and he knows about this as well. I remember sitting with a consultant one time, and he recommended a book to me, and it was called There Is No Free Parking. And that's just the reality. There is no free parking. So the city does not make money on parking, but we use it as a tool to try and help the merchants. I happen to have an office on the Hill, and we had a resident or a business owner that sponsored parking and put, the things over all the meters. Well, every morning by 9 o'clock, every single meter was full because all the people that worked there parked there. The same thing would happen in the village. So it's a delicate balance, but I'm encouraged by the app. I'm encouraged by the adoption of the app in the other communities. And I think, it's always going to be a work in progress. But, if we can do apps downtown, we can do apps here. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, for our last question, we'll start with Mr. Boettcher. Sorry.
I'm easy to forgettable.
Thank you. Thanks for keeping me on track.
The parking, I've walked into a lot of the businesses and I just asked them what they think about parking. Everyone complains about it, I get it. Some of the things we could look at, obviously everyone up here has a little bit more experience with this than I do, but maybe, for the businesses, we could have they get a parking pass and pay a fixed fee every year for their employees. A lot of the employees in the village are minimum wage employees from what I've told, and this would help offset some of their costs with coming to work. The one thing I will say is the parking garage, it's an expensive thing, but we need to use it. If you go to the park and you go to the farms and you go to St. Croix Shores, they have these beautiful events in there. And when you go to After 6 in the park, you got to park 7-8 blocks down the street just to get there. We should bring that same kind of event to the city and utilize the parking deck, because we can house 1,000 cars and raise even more money to help offset the fund and the cost of that garage.
Thank you. Sorry about that. And that leads us right into the last question, starting with Mr. Boettcher. Are you satisfied with the progress of the Main Street project, and what further programming would you like to see implemented under this umbrella?
I believe that it's been 6 years, and way back in its infancy, I attended the Main Street meetings in Howell, Michigan, where we were presented with the idea, and it was a very positive idea that would help enhance our community and all of that. And I would have hoped after 6 years that it would be a little further along, but I understand that there's financial constraints and some other issues that come along with that. But one of the pillars was about citizen engagement. And I truly believe one of the important aspects of Main Street is to engage our citizenship and bring them through events and partnering with all kinds of different groups to create events in the village that don't obstruct the business district, but at the same time allow us to celebrate being the gem in the city. That in turn will generate more income and allow us to do some of the things that need doing.
Thank you.
I have to do a little fact checking here, or fact correcting. We've had the Main Street program for 5 years. The one you were at in Howell was when we were applying for it, and we didn't have it yet. The first year and a half of Main Street was COVID, so the progress for that was tamped down. Main Street is a proven methodology from the Michigan Main Street Organization, which is part of the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. Events in the village are just one tiny fraction of the whole process. We are subject to intense scrutiny every year. We are on our way toward accreditation. We are within inches of being accredited, and in order to do that, we have to go through a number of hurdles for economic development, for organization, and Chris is absolutely right. Community engagement is the biggest part of it, and what it needs is to be staffed by community volunteers. What it is it's supposed to bubble up from the community, just like we did with Porch Fest this weekend. And we've got a ways to go to getting the community involved.
Thanks. I guess I looked at this from the glass half full standpoint. I look at the village and how things have gone over the last 20 years. I look at the occupancy, which I think is outstanding. I look at the quality of the shops that we have. We continue to attract new businesses. The restaurants, I think when I started, I think there was one restaurant that served spirits. I think right now there's 8. Not that that's a measure of what's going on, but that certainly is a good reflection of the activity that's happening in our district. So I think we're on a good path there. I think some of these new stores are fantastic. If we get one project that takes, if we get this development behind CVS, if something goes, the number of dollars that would flow to that district would be tremendous. So it's not lost on us. We're working on it, and if something clicks, it will be a big deal.
I think Main Street's doing a really good job. I think we should give credit, he's not here tonight, but Chris Moyer and Sydney Wilcox, they run the page and are in charge of it. And I think the Porch Fest with Mayor Sheila, that was something she ran. That's another really great event that the city does. And I agree, us as residents and citizens, even myself, we need to step up and try to support these events and volunteer to bring more of these events, because it just can't be ran by two people. The community has to step up and help support them and go to the village and shop there, and it will only make it even better.
All right, I suspected this was going to be a question tonight. So I brought the Main Street Impact Report, which is a 4-page PDF. If you haven't seen it, seek it out. It talks a lot about the Main Street program itself across Michigan and specifically here in Grosse Pointe. Some of the highlights include that since Main Street has come to the city of Grosse Pointe, there have been 26 new businesses, plus 5 business expansions or relocations, an additional $4.5 million in private investment, and the vacancy rate has dropped from the low double digits to 3% today. That's a ton of momentum. That's so much that we can build on, and I am so excited about the opportunities that we have. There are little changes that we've been able to make. During COVID, people really liked dining outside, and we realized that that was a great way to build community. And so they brought it before City Council, and we made that a permanent part of our code, that the restaurants there could have on-street dining. And I think that's been a great addition to the village, to our community. And so those are the kinds of things that draw people down to the village and that we'll continue to build on. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, we will end the segment with the candidates' closing statements, not to exceed 2 minutes, and we were going to reverse the order that we started with, so we'll start with Ms. Juip and finish over here.
Okay, sounds good. First of all, I'd like to thank all of you guys, my fellow candidates, because I have really enjoyed having this discussion tonight. And then I want to thank all of you for being here. All of you here in the room, and then to those of you on camera who will eventually be watching online. Thank you so much for your engagement. Our city has the motto that excellence is our proud tradition. And over the past 5 years on council, I've tried to live up to that standard. By being a conduit from all of you to City Hall, by faithfully attending your council meetings, by coming prepared, by asking questions that are thoughtful and that are probing. And when I vote, I always vote with the interests of our community at the forefront. We don't have unlimited resources, as you've heard tonight, and so I've worked hard to make sure that the things that we do invest in are the things that you all care about, both today and looking forward to the future. And I'm really proud of the progress that we've made together, from big things like adopting the city's master plan and launching the new Active Adult Commission, to little things like I just mentioned, like outdoor dining in the village. One of the biggest impacts that we've had is bringing in a city manager, Joe Valentine, who's really raised the bar across all the departments at City Hall and really improved customer service all across city government. But one of the things I want to draw my attention to is another aspect of the time I've been on council, and it's beyond the things that we've accomplished, but I'm proud of the way in which we've done it. Because as a council member, I have served with integrity and transparency, and if I'm reelected, I will continue to do so. As a council body, we don't always agree, but as you've seen tonight, we do strive to be agreeable, and I think that culture of respect has really served our community well. It's been my privilege to represent you all since 2020, and I've worked hard on to try to make my voice a really valued one on the council, and it would be my honor to earn your vote for another term. Thanks.
And Mr. Calcaterra.
Again, I'd like to thank everyone for coming and listening tonight and having this discussion. I hope I was able to convey my strong passion for the Grosse Pointe community and desire to keep our city a beautiful and desirable place for all. If elected to City Council, I would hope that I could work on some of the small things we mentioned, like planting trees, more events, supporting the main street. If any of you guys have any questions, I'm an open book. You can reach out to me via email at dcalcaterra90@gmail.com or shoot me a call or text at 313-903-1900. Thanks again, everyone.
Thank you. Again, I would repeat, thank you guys for showing up. It's a beautiful evening out there and you're here, so thank you very much. In my opening remarks, I spoke about the many city roles that I've had the privilege to serve in. And while individual commitment matters, we all know that real success comes from a strong team effort. Over the years, I've served alongside 3 different mayors and more than 20 council members. That experience has been both enlightening and humbling. I'm here tonight to tell you that your current council is one of the most effective, collaborative, and cohesive teams I've ever worked with. I want to sincerely thank my fellow council members, Dr. Seth Krupp, Terrence Thomas, Maureen Juip, Dave Fries, Chris Moyer, and of course, Mayor Sheila Tomkowiak. I want to also thank our dedicated city staff, our public works team, our public safety officers, and our city manager, Joe Valentine. Their tireless effort are what keep this city running smoothly every single day. I think back to a story of when we were coming out of the flood, and you all remember it was just a disaster out there. Every street was filled with junk all over the place. It was the 4th of July, and I'm driving down the street, and I see Pete Randazzo, who's our city director of public works manager, and he's out there loading stuff in trucks. That's the kind of city we have, and we should be proud of. With the support of this outstanding team, I believe we can continue to deliver the Grosse Pointe experience we all love and expect. We're not done yet. Together, we remain committed to making our city even more welcoming, vibrant, and exceptional place to live. That's why I'm asking you for your vote on November 4th. Thank you for your time, your trust, and your opportunity to serve.
Ms. Tomkowiak?
I also would like to thank all of you for coming out tonight and thank the League for putting this on. You know, this isn't free, and they're a 501c3, so if you can see your way to donate to the League, that would be great. I'd like to thank my fellow council members who are here today for acknowledging how reasonable and collaborative and cooperative our council is. Even when we disagree, it's thoughtful, it's respectful, and I'm really, really proud of the atmosphere in that room when we work. I'm excited about the future of the city. I believe we're on the right track, and I'm happy after this to answer any questions any of you have, and I can explain why I think that. My goal is, as it has been all along, to preserve those elements that make this city so special while we work to carefully and thoughtfully move it forward. I'm honored to have been endorsed in my campaign by all 6 current council members. I take that as a vote of confidence in me and in the work we are doing together. And I'm telling you, this is a team sport. Chris is absolutely right. With city staff and council, we're the board of directors. Our city manager is the CEO of the corporation, and our collaboration and cooperation is second to none. So I hope that in the last 6 years, I've earned your trust and that I earn your vote so I can move forward.
Close with Mr. Boettcher.
For over 6 decades, this town has been my home. And as a 3rd-generation Grosse Pointer, I've always been proud to call Grosse Pointe my home. So much so that my 4th and 5th generations now call this home. In the 6 years since my time as a council member and mayor, I observed our community moving forward as it should be. But I also noticed that sometimes preservation falls slightly neglected, that sometimes you can't reach your goals financially. And I feel that with good fiscal responsibility and looking harder and pivoting and moving, that we can find the things that will make these small improvements moving forward. This town should be the gem, the centerpiece of the Grosse Pointes. My goal is to improve and restore the business districts, strengthen our relationships with our neighboring communities, provide top-notch services, and have a public safety that is the envy of others. I must have your votes on November 4th, and I hope that people do get out and vote. It's one of the most important things to do. And with this, I hope I can see this vision through.
Thank you. And now, let's all give a round of applause for all of these. Thank you very much. I have a few final notes. This forum will be available for viewing on the League of Women Voters of Grosse Pointe YouTube page, which you can also link to from their website within a few days. Remember, the League of Women Voters has an online voting guide covering this race. It is vote411.org and is linked to our website, which is lwvgrossepointe.org. Absentee ballots will be available to voters beginning September 24th. You may mail yours back. We recommend this option if there are at least 2 weeks before the election, or you may use the drop box outside of City Hall to return your ballot anytime up to Election Day. And finally, Election Day is Tuesday, November 4th, 2025. The polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. As noted by Mr. Boettcher, there is a new polling location for this election in the city. Be sure to go to the neighborhood club at the corner of Waterloo and St. Clair to vote in person on Election Day. Your vote is your voice. Please make a plan to vote and make it a priority. And thank you again to the candidates and to our gracious audience. Have a good evening.